Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Rudeva Deva. Hari Om. Now we are discussing the ninth chapter of Panchadashi of Vidyaranya Swami, and this chapter deals with the meditation on Brahman or Nirguna Brahman, a very peculiar situation where Nirguna Brahma cannot be meditated, but yet Vidyaranya says can be done and should be done for those who have an obstacles for self-realization. This seems to be a big problem for many of us, in the sense that we understand Vedanta, but we do not have the confidence to claim that I am Brahman. Even though that's what the scripture says, that's what we have learned after listening to many years of Vedantic Sravanaha and discussing and elaborately arguing also that self is the Brahman. The consciousness that I am is same as Sachidananda Brahman. All that is clearly understood, yet I cannot claim that I am Brahman. So what is the reason? According to him, there are several obstacles to claim. So I have a Paroksha Jnanam and Aparoksha Jnanam. Paroksha Jnanam is to know that Brahma Asti. Brahman is nothing but, the whole universe is nothing but Brahman. Brahman himself, as though, quote unquote, appears as the varieties of names and forms, just as the gold as though appears as varieties of names and ornaments, names and forms as ornaments. So it is a transformationless transformation. There is a transformation, yet there is no transformation, and that's what is called Maya. Maya is that which appears to be there, but it's not really there. So gold appears to undergo a transformation to become a ring and a bangle and a necklace and a bracelet. Ring is different from bangle, bangle is different from necklace, yet the substantive, the adhishthanam, the adhara, that which supports the ring and the bangle and the necklace is nothing but gold only. Gold has not really become ring and a bangle, yet gold has become ring and a bangle. That's what Krishna says. In the same case, it is what was there before is pure Satchidanandam, which is of the nature of existent consciousness, unlimitless. That means it is infinite, hence it is Brahman. And he became many. So now Brahman is nothing but many appearing as Brahman. So therefore, to see Brahman, I had to see in and through every name and a form. To see gold, I had to see in and through every ornament, golden ornament obviously. So it's appearing as a ring, appearing as a necklace, appearing as a bracelet. Bangle is different from a necklace, necklace is different from a bracelet. So the properties of the bangle, the properties of the necklace, the properties of the ring belong to the ring and the bangle and the necklace. They do not belong to the adhara, the adhishthanam, the support, because of which bangle is. And without it, there is no bangle. Because of which ring is. Without it, there is no ring. So therefore, the adhishthanam, that which supports, is the essence of ring and a bangle and a necklace. So if we understand it clearly, that Brahman is the whole universe, appearing as different you, me, he, she, etc. My properties are different from your properties, which are different from his properties, different from her properties, and so on and so forth. Yet, in and through the properties, the essence is the same, because from which it came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. From gold, ornaments came, by gold they are sustained, into gold they go back. That means gold is the material that supports. It's not the goldsmith. Goldsmith is only intelligent cause, but the gold is the material, and the material has to sustain that names and forms. In the case of Brahman, since it is ekam eva advitiyam, one without a second. If there is a second, then Brahman cannot be Brahman. Brahman means infinite, limitless. So he gets limited if there is a second. So therefore Brahman has to be infinite. There cannot be anything other than Brahman for Brahman to be Brahman. And if there is anything else, it has to be supported by Brahman only. Because if something else supports, then the Brahman cannot be Brahman. Therefore, from Brahman, the whole universe came. So he is not only the intelligent, but also the material cause. And that's what scripture defines, both from the Swarupa Lakshana and also from the Tadastha Lakshana. Yatova imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayam sabisham vishanti, tat vijnasasva tat brahmeti. That is Brahman. What is Brahman? From which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained. Sustained means it is adhara. Ring is sustained by the gold. I cannot remove the gold and give you back the ring. If it is your ring, I may try to do it. Therefore, the necklace, everything is adhara. Without it, ring and the name is only a form and a name only. There is no really ring substance there. Same way, from which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained. That's why it's called Vedanta is a pramana. All Upanishads, all religions say God created the world. And where is He? He's up in the sky. Vedanta doesn't say that. He's up in the sky also. But He's here too. Because anywhere there is something, He has to be Adhar. Because Adharam, substantive, supportive. And because of which it is, without which it is not. So anything exists, you see, anything is. So without isness, you cannot say object is. We can say object. Object what? Object exists. So existence is supported by the pure existence, that is called Adhishtanam. So that's why Satyam, the Satchit Ananda, which is Akhanda, which is unbroken, because there cannot be limits for the Sat. Sat cannot be broken. There is an existence of chair, and outside the chair also there is an existence expressed in the form of space. And where there is no space, there cannot be. If there is something, there is a space is there. So space itself is infinite. And that which supports the space is even more subtler. How do you know that space it supports? Because when I go to deep sleep state, there is no space nor time, but I am there. So therefore, Brahman as a pure existing consciousness expressing as I am is there even in deep sleep state. So having understood all this by analysis, by the Shastram, and by the Yukti, by the logic, and by also experientially also, knowing that still a lot of people have a problem to claim that I am Brahman. Where is the problem? If I understood, then that's the end of it. No, I had to meditate on it. Why do you have to meditate on it? You have to meditate only to remove the obstacles that are inhibiting that, to recognize that I am Brahman. So whole chapter is meant for those who have understood Vedanta by Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, and not able to do Nididhyasana. So here, if we read the sloka 37 that we finish. Kalena paripachyante, kalena paripachyante, krushirgarbhadayo yatha, krushirgarbhadayo yatha, tadvadatma vicharopi, tadvadatma vicharopi, sanaih kalena pachyate, sanaih kalena pachyate. So, when it is not digested clearly because of some obstacles, he is going to talk about the obstacles soon, and he already discussed some kind of obstacles. He is going to have more clear description of it. So what should I do? I understood, but I am not able to retain that knowledge. In the class it is okay. Outside the class I am back to my transactional world with ragadveshas, likes and dislikes, and all the emotional attachments that go with it. So I am not able to keep that knowledge when I am transacting. So what should I do? Keep that knowledge in mind. So vichara, inquiry has to be done. So therefore, to claim that number one, everything is Brahman, I have to listen to scriptures again and again until that is clear. To claim that Aham Brahmasmi, I have to listen to the Mahavakyas vichara. How can I be that? Has to be clear. That even though it's clear, I am not able to claim, so I have to keep that constantly. The mind has to dwell in that were constant contemplation on that. It says bhuyo bhuya, again and again and again. You have to keep that going on for the mind to dwell on it, because we have spent many lives. In every life we are associated with the body, mind and intellect, and living with that identification. How do we know? The fact that you are born and going through this life because of you went through same thing in the past life. That's obvious, because you have done some actions and vasanas, and that will propel you to come. You have to keep going until you get out of this cycle, and only way to get out of the cycle is to claim that I do not belong in this. That means Aham Brahmasmi. This samsara is only a passing things, and I have nothing to do with it. That's what Krishna says. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. I pervade this entire universe in unmanifested form. Mastani sarva bhutani. All beings are in me. And in the very next sloka he says, Nasamastani bhutani. There are no beings in me. It's not a contradiction, but it is a clear understanding that I am pure Satchidananda. There is nothing other than myself. If there is something other than myself, they are only apparent. Therefore, their karmas or their actions do not touch me. I am asangoham. I am untouched by any of this. And that's what can claim. To claim that, I have to keep on the memory and recognition and the teaching, vichara, inquiry should go on. And how long it will go? Here example that was said is Kalena paripachyante krushik garbhadayo yatha. Just as it takes 9 months for the fetus to grow into a baby, and you cannot hurry it up. It is a natural process to grow, and you cannot remove it early, then it is not complete. So therefore, if it takes its own time, kalena paripachyante, it gets essentially matures, and yatha krushi garbhadayaha, just as this seed in the garbham, and atma vicharaha api tadvat atma vicharopi sanaihi kalena pachyati. So inquiring into oneself again and again, and making sure that I am that pure consciousness and not this body. That's why in the morning, first thing in the morning, it says pratasmarami hrudisam spuradatmatattvam satchitsukam paramahamsa gatim turiyam. So pratasmarami, first thing in the morning, think pratasmarami hudisam swaratma tattvam. Atma tattvam has to be contemplated in the first thing in the morning and the last thing in the night and in between whenever. So therefore it says bhuyo bhuyaha again and again until mind gets mature enough to firmly abide in the knowledge, which Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says Drudhaiva Nishtha, firm abidance is required. And that's why the next sloka, 38 we see, is emphasized again. Punaha punar vicharepi, punaha punar vicharepi, trividha pratibandhataha, trividha pratibandhataha, navetti tattva navetti tattva mitchetad, vartike samyagiritam, vartike samyagiritam. Together. Punah punar vicharepi, trividha pratibandhataha, navetti tattva mitchetad, vartike samyagiritam. So punaha vichare api. So one has to inquire again and again. And he says, who says this? Here he is giving a reference to Vartike. Vartike is in the Vartika. Vartika is written by Sureshwaracharya, and this has been discussed elaborately. And there he says Trividha Pratibandhataha, because of three types of obstacles. So what are the obstacles? So Sureshwaracharya has discussed in the Vartika that there are three obstacles that prevent one from claiming that Aham Brahmasmi, even though one has understood by listening to Vedanta for many years. And therefore, what is the remedy for it? It says punar vicharapi. One has to keep on inquiring again and again and again. In the mind has to keep on dwelling on that and nothing else in order to firmly abide in the knowledge. Because of three types of obstacles are there, and to get rid of them one has to do. So depending upon the individuals, these obstacles can be varied. And he's going to discuss three obstacles, and one related to the past, another related to the present, and third related to the future. So therefore, these obstacles, naveti, one does not know, tattvam iti etad, this truth does not know, etad, this is not known, and etad vartike samyagiritam. So this has been described exhaustively in the Vartika by Sureshwaracharya. We'll read 39 now. Kutastadjnanamiti ched, kutastadjnanamiti ched, taddibandha parikshayat, taddibandha parikshayat, asavapicha bhuto va, asavapicha bhuto va, bhavi va vartate thava, bhavi va vartate thava. Together. Kutastadjnanamiti ched, taddibandha parikshayat, asavapicha bhuto va, bhavi va vartate dhava. So what are the three obstacles? Here he is defining. So tadjnanam, the knowledge of the self. Kutaha, how come I am not able to gain that? If one asks, iti ched, if one asks that how come I am not able to firmly abide in the knowledge that I am Brahmasmi, iti ched, that the direct knowledge, he bandha parikshayat, so that bondages, there is obstacles that are preventing one from claiming I am Brahman. What are the three obstacles? This is asavapi cha. So asav api cha, these obstacles are indeed related to bhuto va, bhavi va, athava vartate. So there are three obstacles that we mentioned. One is related to bhuto va, related to the past, bhavi va, related to the present, athava, or related to the vartate, to the future. So atava means or, but also and. So it can be past, present and future obstacles, or past obstacles, or present obstacles, or future obstacles. Anything can be preventing my claim that I am Brahmasmi, even though I have understood. So what are the past, present and future? He is going to discuss now. Adhita Veda Vedarthopi, Adhita Veda Vedarthopi, Atayeva Namuchyate, Atayeva Namuchyate, Hiranya Nidhi Drishtantat, Hiranya Nidhi Drishtantat, Idameva Hi Darsitam, Idameva Hi Darsitam. Together. Adhita Veda Vedarthopi, Atayeva Namuchyate, Hiranya Nidhi Drishtantat, Idameva Hi Darsitam. So Adhita Veda Vedartha. So Adhita means who has studied Veda and Vedartha. So he knows Vedas and also complete meaning of it. So essence of it he has completely studied. Adhita. One who knows the Vedas and its meaning. Vedartha api. Atha eva, due to these obstacles, because of that mentioned, the past, present and future, namuchyate is not liberated. So one has not get liberated even though he has understood, studied along with the meaning and the vyakhyanams and interpretations, all 9 yards. Yet he is not able to gain the knowledge or not able to claim that I am Brahman. Because it is like Hiranya Nidhi Drishtantat. It is like an example of Hiranya Nidhi. The gold treasure example. What's a gold treasure example? It says Darsitam is shown this is in the Chandogya Upanishad, in the chapter 8 and section 3, mantra 2. There is an example of essentially Hiranya Nidhi. It's called the gold treasure. So what is the example? Here, when Mahatma was going there and he saw a beggar there and he is begging. Then somehow the Mahatma was turned backwards to see there is something strange. So he turned back and looked at the beggar and then looked at the place she is sitting, and then he could not resist laughing. Why? Because the beggar is begging for money. At the same time, he is sitting in the place where there is a treasure there. So there is a treasure. So he can claim that because that's his place, presumably. And at the same time, he is still a beggar. Even though he has the treasure, he is still begging because he doesn't know that he has the treasure. And this is like same way, I know I am Brahman. Brahman means infinite. Therefore, I have no problems anywhere. I am full by myself. I am self-contented. I am happy as I am. I don't need anything for me to become happy. That's what Brahman means. That's what limitless, and that's what happiness is. So sitting on top of a treasure and still begging for something, because the beggar does not know that he is sitting on top of the treasure. In the same way, knowing that I am Brahman, in fact I was Brahman whether I know it or not, I have been Brahman all the time, I cannot but be Brahman, because Brahman being infinite, it has to include me if at all, and therefore I am part of Brahman or full Brahman, depending upon which darshana you follow. But Advaita says you are indeed. So you cannot be part. Why you cannot be part of Brahman? Because Brahman is infinite. Infinite cannot be parted. Because that's the definition of infinite. Infinite cannot have parts. And therefore, if you remove infinity from infinity, infinity, both are infinite as though, because there cannot be both. You cannot remove infinity from infinity in principle. So, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. So, even though conceptually if I try to remove, it is Purnam only, infinity. Anyway, here See, I understood I am in fact is Brahman. So I am sitting on top of a treasure, not knowing I am already happy. I am begging for happiness outside. And that's what is essentially example given by Chandogya Upanishad. So what should I do to solve the problem? What should beggar has to do? So someone has to teach him that there is a treasure there. So even though if he knows the treasure and still he is begging, then there's something else is a problem. He may not have a tool to pull out the treasure because it's a deep down, and he has to go inside and inquire within and get the treasure. And he does not have the tools, so even though he is sitting on top of it, he is not able to claim the treasure, even though the teacher taught him, you are already rich. It's right there underneath you. So teacher has done its job. He has to inquire, and that's what inquiry is. Digging into that is inquiring into deep down who I am, because it is in the sanctum sanctorum, it is deep in that. Therefore, upadrashtanumantacha bharta bhokta maheshwara. I am very deep right there, standing there waiting for you to turn inwards. That's what Lord says. Therefore, it is like an example of a beggar who has it but not able to get it. So he gives a different example to illustrate the obstacles here. We'll go to 41. Atitenapi mahishim, atitenapi mahishim, snehena pratibandhataha, snehena pratibandhataha, bhikshustatvam na vedeti, bhikshustatvam na vedeti, gadha loke pragiyate, gadha loke pragiyate. Together. Atitenapi mahishi snehena pratibandhataha bhikshustatvam na vedeti gadhaloke pragiyate. So here is another example that was very, very, very familiar for a lot of Vedantins. He says Atitena, in the past, Mahishi, a buffalo, Snehena, by attachment, he got attached to a buffalo. One sage got attached to the buffalo, or one seeker got attached to the buffalo. So Atite Mahishi Snehena, Sneha means intense attachment, Adi Pratibandhataha. So that itself became a Pratibandha, because it's an obstacle for his realization. What's the realization? I am the totality itself is realization. Aham Brahmasmi, I am the total. But because of his attachment to that, attachment is that his mind is dwelling on the buffalo. So mind is not able to dwell on the totality. Even though Aham Brahmasmi are taught, but Vichara is not there, because the mind, whenever he sits for meditation or inquiry, the mind runs towards the buffalo. I don't know what buffalo is doing, where it is it safe, has it eaten? All that mind is revolving around the buffalo because of sneham, because of attachment. Attachment is something that mind dwells in unnecessarily where it is not required. I had to dwell to solve a problem. So the concern is different from worry. So one has to be careful. Concern is required to take care of those who depend on you. That's what concern is. Concern is to take to be concerned about those who depend on you, so that you give them whatever that is required as per their essential needs. If the child requires an education, you have to provide an education. If the child needs protection, you have to provide the protection. As long as that it is your duty to take care of it, you have to do. That becomes niyatam kuru. Obligatory duties have to be done. When the child has grown up enough and can take care of it, then your duty is over. If you keep dwelling on it, then you are essentially becomes an attachment, not concern. You should be ready to help them, be concerned, and let them know that if they need your help, you can ready to do it. That's all the goal of a parent after the children have gone. If you dwell more and more on the child, even though they are already adults, then it becomes a wrong attachment. In fact, attachment itself is wrong. So it becomes unnecessarily botheration to them, to you, to everybody also. So here, atite napi, even though in the atite, in the past, because of attachment to the buffalo, it has become a pratibandhataha, it become a bondage, it become an obstacle. Bhikshuhu, so one bhikshu, the seeker here, bhikshu is tattvam navedeti, bhikshu's tattvam navedeti. He is not able to claim that I am Brahman. Gadha loke pragiyate. So, iti gadha, this story, loke pragiyate. This everybody knows this story. So he is not able to realize that I am Brahmasmi because of his attachment to his buffalo. So what should he do? The story goes, Anusrutya Guru Sneham, Anusrutya Guru Sneham, Mahishyam Tattva Muktavan, Mahishyam Tattva Muktavan, Tat Yathavat Vaidesha, Tat Yathavat Vedaisha, Pradibandasya Samshayat, Pradibandasya Samshayat, together, Anusrutya Guru Sneham, Mahishyam Tattva Muktavan, Tat Yathavat Vedaisha, Pradibandasya Samshayat. So in this case, Guru was compassionate enough, his teacher was compassionate enough, has understood the problem of his student, that the student is unnecessarily and is getting attached to a buffalo because of his sneha bhavam. Therefore, he understood and therefore he has to come and separate that. So Anusrutya means having learned, the Guru the teacher, Sneham Mahishyam, so his attachment to the buffalo, having understood, Tattva Muktavan, so he has Tattvam, the essence Uktavan. He explained that these attachments are not right. This is how the Gitopadesha came also into picture, because of Arjuna's attachment to his grandsires and his teachers, and that's how the whole Vishada Yoga is, because of his attachment. But he has, because of the attachment or raga doshas, it covers the what is dharma. So the nashto moho sudhe dharma, tat prasadena maya chuta. Only in the end he says, the delusion is gone. So initially says, I don't know what is dharma, what is so sishyastveham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So I am surrendering to you. That Arjuna recognized the problem and surrendered. Here the Guru recognized the problem of the student, and that's why you need a Guru who is a compassionate and sees the problems of the student and helps him out to get out of that problem. So Anusrutya Guruhu Sneham, this is what used to be in the olden days, where Guru is to live with the teacher, the Shishya is to live with the teacher, and Guru is able to observe systematically how it is. So Anusrutya Guruhu Sneham Mahishyam Tattva Muktavan. So he got liberated because he stopped that, because he was learned that the attachments really bind one. So get detached, but take care of the Mahisha. There is no problem in taking care of the buffalo as needed, but over and above that becomes a attachment. So Mahishyam Tattva Muktavan Tat Yadavat Vedaishi. So that, by that explanation, Esha, the seeker, is Pratibandasya Samshayat. Vedaisha, having studied Vedaisha, have come to realize that, and Pratibandhasya Samshayat, having removed Yayavat as it should be, Veda, as he realized that, is true nature. So, what is the problem? The problem is attachment can bind you, and the same way Arjuna had attachment to his grandsire and his teacher, and after to justify it he included everybody also later. That even the cousins also says, even though they are atatais and I should not kill them, and it's better for me to go and beg alms rather than claiming the kingdom after killing all these people. So that was his problem. So essentially, the karpanya doshopa hata swabhavaha pruchami tam dharma sammuda chetaha sishatveham swadhimam tam prapannam. So because of karpanya dosham, because of which the attachments I am not able to see clearly. So I do not know what is right and what is wrong. So that recognition has to come from the student, then only the teaching becomes efficient. So in this case, the student has that, but at the same time, that is getting covered superficially because of the attachment. So because by tattva bodha, by teaching, it says, you are crying where there is no reason for you to cry. That's how Krishna says, agatasuna agatasumcha nanu sochanti panditaha. So there is no reason to cry, because the knowledge people, wise people will not cry for people who are dying or people who are going to die. There are only two types of people. People who died or people who are going to die. There is nobody who is going to live permanently here. So Krishna emphasizes that that's how this Gita Upadesa starts. Because nobody dies actually. That's how he says, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam naimiti nadipaha nasaiva nabhavishyamaha sarve vayamatah param. There was never a time I was not there. There was never a time you were not there. There was never a time all these kings. So who is going to kill what? So najayate mruyate va kadachitu nayam bhutva na bhavita va na bhuyaha ajoditya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The body gets killed only, they never get killed. They will find another body. The body gets killed because their prarabdha has come to that level. So that's why they are on the other side also to get killed. Even this side also people get caught, killed. Okay, so that is the past pratibandha. What is the past pratibandha? I am attached. So attachments makes me to bind. So it's not only the problem of the particular Rishi. The question is, what am I attached to? Everything attachment is only all the past. So to the property, attachment to the property, or to the persons, or to the profession, or to anything else that come in between. So wealth and everything else, including even a cat and a rat, or not rat, cat and a dog, or instead of a buffalo. So we have attachments invested there. So what should I do? If you need to take care of it, take care of it. Don't develop unnecessarily attachments. Withdraw the attachments from them and invest attachment to the higher. That's called sannyasa yoga. Sannyasa means you have to withdraw and attach it. By attaching to higher, you can detach from lower. So how do I get rid of attachments? Either I need a teacher, or if I already have a teaching, I need to invest the mind in the knowledge, or in the scriptures, or in the Lord. One of the three, so that a higher is the one that will not give you agitations. So attachment to higher is required to get detached from the lower, otherwise we will fall down. So therefore, attachments because of the past is the obstacle. You have to do what need to be done. At the same time, you should not get attached. So therefore, there is a difference between the love and attachment. So in principle, love is that where you let others people to depend on you, whereas attachment is that where you depend on others for your happiness. If you depend on others for your happiness, you can get disappointments because people do not meet your expectations, because you are not meeting their expectations, and therefore attachment becomes a problem. You have to withdraw the mind from that and reinvest in terms of, if it's already Vedantim, then dwell the mind in not in those things but on the higher reality. If you are a bhakta attached to the Lord, therefore you can get easily detached. So attachment to the higher is called devotion. Attachment to the lower is falling in love. So all these things are to be understood. So that is what the pratibandha of the past. Now we're talking about the pratibandha, that means obstacle of the present and obstacle of the future, that we'll take up after we come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.